They've built an empire. Years, decades of blood, sweat, sleepless nights, endless bets that most people wouldn't dare take. And now, the legacy money sits there, powerful, immense, static. But does it move? Does it shake the ground beneath the feet of the future? Or is it just resting, collecting dust, waiting to be handed down to the next generation, who might not even know how to make it roar again? That's the question burning under the skin of every founder, investor, leader who's ever stared at their wealth and felt that sharp, gnawing ache. Is my legacy money a cage or a weapon? Because here's the brutal truth. Legacy money, as it stands in too many places today, is the world's biggest missed opportunity. It's not breaking free, not shaking the world, not building anything revolutionary. It's a weight that drags potential down, that slows the unstoppable, that keeps radical ideas from becoming the reality we all crave. And it stings. It burns. Because those who built this wealth didn't just want comfort. They wanted to create, to transform, to leap forward. But the system, it loves its comfort zone. It wants rules, boundaries, safe bets that kill the fire. The money that could be the fuel for tomorrow's revolutions sits bound by old beliefs, by traditional ways of doing things, trapped by structures designed to protect what exists, not to birth what's possible. Look around. The world promises freedom, yet every contract, every rule, every how things should be, silently tells you where you can step, where you can't. And you, the rare few who want to burn bright, who want to tear down the fake walls and build something new, sit stuck. This is the harsh paradox. Wealth that could destroy the future's limits is often the same wealth that enforces them. Because legacy money inherited uncritically becomes a chain, not wings. It becomes an anchor that pulls down even the most radical dreams. Investors face this all the time. A flashy, revolutionary idea comes along, and the doubt rises. Is this too risky? Will it protect my legacy? What if it fails and the family fortune shatters? The safe answer feeds the slow death of potential. Profits go to slow growth industries or short-term gains that feel secure. But that's not what builds legacies that change the game forever. Founders look at the piles of capital amassed and wonder, why does it feel so disconnected from the fire that built it? Why is it resting quietly when the world needs revolutions more than ever? Because revolution, real revolution, is messy. It's uncomfortable. It demands rejection of consensus, of the cozy routine that many cling to. It requires a radical unlearning, a tearing down of what you thought was true. And that scares legacy money managers, who worry about preserving capital like it's a priceless artifact to hide in a vault. The truth is, the capital only stays priceless if it moves, if it fights for a future where the impossible becomes possible. Without that, it fades. It becomes yesterday's story, not tomorrow's legend. But imagine if that money was freed, not just poured into some new tech startup hoping for a quick hit. Imagine it handed to the few who refuse to bow down to the system, to the founder who burns with ideas no one else dares to dream, the investor ready to bet not on the crowd, but on the edge, the leader who rejects belonging and crafts their own path forward. Imagine a world where legacy money funds not what's safe, not what's proven, but what's explosive. Ideas that could redefine reality, that smash old barriers, that build a future where the rare and brilliant find not just a place, but a stage. This isn't a fantasy. This is what happens when legacy money becomes more than money. It becomes leverage for the uncommon, the radical few who don't settle, who want to create what no one else believes possible. It becomes oxygen for the movement that refuses to scale noise and instead amplifies essence. The real power isn't in numbers, it's in connection. It's in forging brutal, beautiful links between that misaligned genius, those misunderstood brilliance, those fiercely individual visions. The world hasn't lacked brilliance, it's lacked alignment. Legacy capital, if wielded right, is the force that can unite the few, that can tear down the walls built by fear and convention, that can create the infrastructure for the exceptional to thrive. It's the network that doesn't collect the many, but the few who burn. Because the future belongs not to the comfortable, the compliant, or the critics, but to those who refuse to live a borrowed life, who would rather burn than bend. Who know that real change starts when you first unlearn everything you were told about how things work. Here's the secret no one wants to admit. Legacy money can't fund revolutionary ideas if it's tied to tradition. To truly unleash its power, it must be willing to break rules rather than follow them. It must dare to ignore the safe playbooks, to question every assumption about risk and reward, about preservation and growth. It must adopt a ruthless version of freedom, where the will of the individual is a weapon, and patience is a commitment to the long game. Because revolutions don't happen overnight. They are shaped by slow-burning fires, nurtured by those who refuse the distractions of mediocrity and conformity. The capital at stake is greater than wealth. It's a declaration of sovereignty over what the future can be. But it means stepping into the unknown with trust. Trust in yourself, in your vision, and in the power of aligning with others who burn as you do. This is not about scaling noise. It's about cultivating essence. Deep, transformative ideas that dismantle old realities and forge the path to new ones. It's about funding people, not projects. Vision, not just ventures. Because ideas without fire, without hunger, without refusal to settle, will die quietly. Legacy money must become a torch passed to those who won't just preserve what's been done, but who will obliterate the boundaries holding us back. And here is what transforms the pain into power. Each single dollar of legacy capital finds the soul behind the idea it funds. It is not given blindly, but aligned deliberately with the few who dare, those wired to become more than systems allow, who burn to transform not just themselves but the entire world. These rare few aren't born from comfort zones or safe bet cultures. They come from edges, from places where everything is risky, but the possibility is infinite. Giving legacy money to these few shifts the whole game. Suddenly, what was a static pile of wealth becomes a living, breathing force. A radical network where ideas dare to explode, where misfits connect with misfits, and where greatness is not rare because it's hidden, but because it's fiercely protected by those who will fight to see it rise. What if legacy money stopped playing defense and started playing offense? What if it became a missile, not a shield? What if it didn't just protect the past, but rewrote the future? This is the revolution waiting to happen, but first the chains must break. The comfort that numbs must be torn off like a shackle. Legacy capital has to lose its fear of failure, which is really just fear of change. Because real failure is refusing to try. And history remembers the ones who dared to become, not just to cling, but to leap. There are no shortcuts. This is the long game. The patient, ruthless, unflinching commitment to building a new reality, where the rare are not isolated, where brilliance is aligned and multiplied by connection, where ideas carry the fury of freedom and the precision of strategy, where legacy money doesn't just fund what exists, but funds what must exist. It's time to stop hiding behind rules made for someone else's world. It's time to fund those burning with vision, who mock the idea of safe and demand justice to progress itself. To those who know the world is an illusion, a fragile system of lies that bind potential in chains made of comfort and fear. To those who live not by flags or titles, but by will, weaponized will that refuses to settle, that refuses to be managed, that refuses to be constrained. Legacy money can and must fund revolutionary ideas. Not tomorrow, not eventually, but right now. Because the future isn't waiting. It's already being built by the few who burn with the fire to transcend everything. To break free from the prisons of the past. To connect the misaligned genius. To give power to those who will build a new world from nothing but vision and relentless will. And that future? It's as close as the courage to take the leap. To turn legacy money from a whisper of the past into a shout heard across the ages. It belongs to those who choose freedom, sovereignty, transformation, not comfort and control. Legacy money is not a prison. It's a weapon. It's the power to transform reality itself, if it's wielded by those fearless enough to cut through the noise and seize the future. The spark is already inside. The next question is simple. Will that capital burn with it, or will it just sit cold in the shadows? The revolution doesn't wait for everyone, only for those who refuse to wait at all. The rare, the brilliant, the rebelling. They're not missing. They're just waiting to be found. Fund them, connect them, ignite them, and watch the impossible become the inevitable.